tell me about yourself. Walk me through. I know you say you're from the Bay Area, but how did you get
Mm.
interested in the hobby? And what have you kind of been involved in as far as cards? Let everybody know more about Troy.
Yeah, so getting into the hobby, it was actually kind of my parents who got me into it, so I appreciate them for that. I remember it was, when LeBron and Carmelo, when their rookie cards first came out. I don't know how my parents found out about it, but like, "Oh, you and some of your friends, we should come to the card we should go to the card shop, and you can rip some packs, see if you can get some LeBron." So that was my first memory with cards. That was my first, memory collecting. So I did, and then after that, I fell in love with it. I remember I was big into football cards as a kid. I loved
Okay.
SPX football. I remember I used to watch box breaks all the time on YouTube, like the OG box breaks. And I was super into it. And then, yeah, same thing as most people. You get older. I got busy with basketball and school and everything. I kind of wasn't collecting very actively. And then, about I think 3 years ago now, my friends were really into it. Two of my best friends from high school, actually, that I played basketball with, they were big into the sports card investing of it all, kind of before that was really a thing back in
Mm-hmm.
like 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of bored. I mean, it's only worth what I say, but I didn't get into it because I was like, oh, I want to make money. I was just like, well, one of the big things was one of my teammates from college, John Collins. I was like, hey, I really believe he's going to have a big year. It would be cool to kind of get some of his cards before he starts playing really well. So I started with his cards, and then I got Tyler Hero. And then once they started playing well, I'm like, wow, this is just so fun. This is so exciting. Like everyone who says it, right? You get into the hobby, it's just so much fun. And then yeah, now here to stay.
So tell me about your basketball career.
Oh man, how much time do we have? I'll try to keep it kind of
Not
short.
that big. You have no business on this.
I'll try to keep it kind of short, basically. So, played basketball all my life. Always loved it. Was always my favorite sport. In high school, I was not a very good basketball player. My junior year of high school, in our biggest game of the season, I played 0 minutes. Not because I was injured, not because of anything. I just wasn't. The coach didn't think I was good enough.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, even in my junior year of high school, I was a bench warmer. Senior year, I had a pretty good year. Made like all conference, but still was not a star or anything. Um, Luckily, just kind of through chance, got the opportunity to play at Wake Forest. When I initially decided to go to that school, it wasn't for basketball. I just thought I was going to be a regular student, and things kind of worked out. Played 4 years there, and then it was the same thing with playing overseas in the Philippines. I was planning on having a regular job. I was just kind of being a little bit of a cocky college guy, and I was set on working at one company, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get it. I don't need to worry about all these other jobs. And then I made it to the final round, and then I didn't get that job. So a coach from the Philippines called me, and they had been recruiting me for a while. They're like, well, why don't you just come out here and play one tournament? And I was like, okay, well, I don't have a job right now. I might as well play one tournament. I packed my bag for 1 week's worth of clothes, and then I ended up playing over there for the past like 4 years.
Hmm.
So it's been crazy. I've gotten the chance to play with guys like John Collins, Lamar Odom, play against guys like Jason Tatum, Marvin Bagley, Donovan Mitchell. So the experiences I've had have been crazy.
That's a wonderful story, man. Wonderful
Thank you.
story. So how tall were you in high school?
I was tall. I was 6'6", 6'7", but I weighed 175 pounds. I hadn't really grown into my body. And it's funny, even now, like, I was playing basketball today. I'm like, I feel like I'm still coming into my own body at 26. So I've always been kind of a late bloomer.
Yeah, everybody develops differently. We hear
Yep.
stories all the time about certain athletes having growth spurts late. Even like Scottie Pippen. There are many athletes you could talk about that in high school they were at one height, and then a couple of years later they're on a totally different playing level, agility level, height level, and then things start changing. Wake Forest is a great school, man.
Yeah, yeah. It was really like that's academically and athletically and socially and everything. Like I can't speak highly enough. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life.
Sports Card Show asks any tips for a young ninth grader that is playing AAU ball and made varsity as a freshman.
Well, first I have to say congrats. That's a big achievement. I didn't make varsity until my junior year, so you can tell him or her, that already that's already great. I guess my main tips would be, one, like, just stay patient. That's the thing. Whenever I go to a camp or talk to younger kids, I would always say, like, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So don't get caught up in, like, the people who were good as ninth graders and eighth graders, like, at the time, or even just one game. You're like, oh, I missed a shot in my ninth grade game. My career is over. Once you've gone through it, you see how little that stuff. I don't want to say how little it matters, but it doesn't affect where you're going. So I think that's the thing. My whole thing was always like, even if I wasn't the best player, even if I wasn't scoring at the tournaments or doing this, I just kept my head down and worked and tried to have fun at the same time. Like, one of my biggest, it's actually from Doc Rivers. One of my biggest things I always tell myself is always finish the race. So I never had, I don't have a Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant work ethic. But if we had a workout or we had practice, I'm not skipping reps. I'm not skipping practices. I'm not cheating the lines. I'm not quitting. I'm not doing any of that stuff. So that's what I would say. Just keep your head down, always finish the race, and don't worry about all that stuff that's happening in ninth grade. Because if you just keep working, you'll be surprised where you can get to.
Not skipping reps and
Yep.
not skipping things. Very important. I always want to piggyback on that. That's very important. So I'm in college and I'm playing football, and we had a running back that was up for the Harlan Hill. He'll love me telling this story. Yeah, he's up for the Harlan Hill, which is a Division II football Heisman Trophy.
Okay.
He plays running back. He he was running the ball a lot, had good yards, but it came a point in the season. Well, you wouldn't see him at practice on Monday and Tuesday. And you probably wouldn't see him at practice on Wednesday. And if you saw him at practice on Thursday and Friday, game on Sunday, I'm on Saturday now. If you saw him at practice on Thursday and Friday, he was just like stepping through, going through some reps. Coach may call a play. He'll walk through the play, things like that. This entire time now, he's putting on weight. He's gaining weight as we go through the season. And we're all just like, are you noticing this guy's changing? Like, physically, he is changing. And so this goes back to when it came time to work out for the NFL Combine and all that, none of that went the way he wanted it to go. So when you say that, most people don't talk like that. But when you say that, it's just, I've known some people who are, quote unquote, good at something, at playing basketball or playing football or playing another sport. And then there are other people on the team who are just working to try to get better, just working. Yep. And I always said, if you can combine those two people, then that's when you have something. But a lot of times they stay mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny. It applies to everything too. I think people get so caught up, like, in the card world, right? Like, and granted, I do some of it too. Sometimes I show, like, my big time deals, right, on YouTube. Kids will come in and be like, how do I find, like, I got really lucky. It's luck, right? One time I bought a $3,000 card and I was able to sell it for $13,000. And so, and people will see that and be like, how do I do that? I want to do that. I want to do that. And it's like, that's not like where you're going to find success. It's about, like, if you just put in the work, consistency, then you can start finding, like, those deals will come. You'll find your 3x, 4x deal if you start with the dollar boxes.
True.
And you learn and you build those connections, and you're just $1, sell for $5. Like, you'll build up. And that's the same thing with sports, right? Like, if you put in that work, maybe on that particular team, you're not the Heisman. Like, for me in college, I never really got my chance to be a main player for our team. I was a bench player. I didn't play that much in college, but I just kept working. And then all of a sudden I got that call from the Philippines, and I was ready. I was ready to go. And that was my opportunity. And I took the most of it.
It's a great story, man. I hope a lot of people out there listening learn something from that, because it's true. In every aspect of life, no matter what it
Everything.
is, it's very true. Let's get to some more questions here. Do you do sports cards full time, or do you have a regular 9 to 5, something sports cards?
Yeah. So for the past 3-4 years, my full-time job was basketball, and I did sports cards on the side. I'm kind of like deciding what's the best next step for my basketball future right now. I might play in another country. I might retire. So right now, sports cards is kind of like my full-time job. So that's why I'm able to travel to these shows, and I'm kind of looking at things differently as more of a dealer than just, you know, picking up cards here and there.
So, do you have a PC? And if you do, what's in it?
I do. The backbone of my PC is John Collins, my former college teammate. That's the main guy I collect. But I also collect Filipino athletes. So, you know, Jalen Green, there's some Filipino soccer players. There's a lot of people. Actually, I did a video about it. So where I showed off kind of some of the cards in my personal collection. So definitely encourage everyone to check it out.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
You know what's interesting is that when I talk to people who sell cards a lot and who move around the country, when I find out what's in their PC, it's like artwork, man. It's like a personal touch, you know, to what they collect. It has nothing to do. It's about something dealing with them. It has nothing to do with anything else. So they're not chasing the dollars of a card. It's more than that.
For sure. And I would say the interesting, and there's nothing wrong with it. I've seen some big time dealers with really nice personal collections, one of ones and stuff like that. But what's interesting for me is I don't really have that much of a huge desire to go for, you know, the one of ones and stuff like that. I just kind of like having the card. Like I bought a $1, literally it was $2.26 was my eBay purchase. I bought a rookie sticker of a Filipino soccer player from Germany. And that made me as happy as if I had bought a $2,000 John Collins one of one. It doesn't matter to me the value. I think just whatever happens to appeal to me. That's what I pick up.
Very cool. Learning more about you, Troy.
There you go.
So Josh asked a question here. I may have missed it, but what is Troy's YouTube channel called?
It is Trike 415. I'm the worst marketer in the world. I don't even, I put my name as Troy. I didn't put my YouTube anywhere. But it's Trike 415. Everyone, make sure to check it out.
So give us the background on the YouTube name. How did you come up with Trike 415? Because I think it's original. Myself, no one is confusing your YouTube channel for anything else. Mm-hmm. So in that regard, it stands out. But give us some background on how you developed that name.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple actually. Maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit for being a marketer. I think iconic brands, it's like I like it to be short, crisp, and unique, right? So you even like you think of like I like it when it's like Nike, Lulu, like that kind of stuff, like Trike. I was just like, all right, so it's my first name's Troy, my last name's Rike. Some people call me that. It's not like my huge nickname, but a lot of people call me that. So I just put that, and then me being in the Philippines, I think it was actually my mom. I was telling her, I was like, should I just do Trike or should I do Trike 415? And she's like, do the 415. It's nice because it kind of like places you, like people know where you're from and like where your roots are and everything. So that was kind of how I got to that name.
That's a cool name to me, man.